Pack your belongings and get out of my house. Chick shouted, his voice echoing through the compound. Look at the ugly thing you have given me. And the one in your womb won't be any different. The sun stood high above, burning down on the dusty yard, when Adai's world shattered. 4 years she had stood faithfully by Chick's side, through hunger, sickness, and endless nights filled with promises of a better tomorrow. She had believed him, trusted him, loved him. She had carried his children and sacrificed everything for their future. Yet the man standing before her now was a stranger. Chick's arm was wrapped tightly around a much younger woman, curvy, bold, and dressed in a tight red mini dress that hugged her body shamelessly. Her eyes held no compassion, only victory. Adai's swollen feet trembled beneath her heavy pregnant body. The pain of carrying life inside her was nothing compared to the pain tearing her heart apart. "Chick, what is happening?" she whispered, gripping her little daughter's hand. He didn't even look at her. Instead, he pointed toward the gate. "You will leave this house today," he said coldly. "Go back to your people. This marriage is over." Adai's blinked in disbelief. After everything? Her eyes moved to the woman clinging to him, her red dress glowing under the sun. "You're sending me away while I'm pregnant with your child," her voice cracked. "With your daughter standing here." The little girl clutched her mother's wrapper, confused and afraid. Chick raised his chin, his voice sharp and cruel. "You are a burden, Adai's curse. I need peace. I need happiness. I need a woman who will give me beautiful children, not this thing you call a child." He pointed at his own daughter without hesitation. The words struck Adai's harder than any slap. After all her sacrifices, the hunger she endured, the insults she swallowed, the strength pregnancy drained from her, she was now nothing to him. Tears burned her eyes, but she refused to let them fall. "So after all the years I stood beside you," she murmured, straightening her trembling body, "you choose a stranger over the mother of your children?" "She's not a stranger," Chick replied firmly. "She's my future." Though her heart broke completely, Adai's gathered what remained of her dignity. She lifted her small bag, took her daughter's hand, and walked toward the gate, never once looking back. Villagers watched silently. Some pitied her, some judged her. But fate was watching too. Before marriage, Adai's had been the most beautiful woman in the entire village. Men paused when she passed. Maidens accepted that she was unmatched. When she went to the stream, young men fought to carry her pot. Yet she remained humble, gentle, and kind. That grace was what first caught Chick's attention. They met on a quiet path to the market. She carried her basket gracefully on her head, humming softly. Chick appeared, tall and confident, and froze when he saw her beauty. Their conversation flowed naturally. He made her laugh. She opened her heart. By the time they reached the market, something powerful had begun. Their love grew. He visited her home often. The village rejoiced when they married. Adai's believed she had found her soulmate. 1 month after marriage, she became pregnant. Chick was proud, boasting to his friends under the udala tree. But 3 months into pregnancy, something changed. Adai's beauty began to fade. Her cheeks hollowed. Her skin lost its glow. By the 6th month, she was barely recognizable. Even the elders whispered that it wasn't normal. Chick comforted her at first. "When the baby comes, everything will return," he promised. But when the child was born, the baby looked exactly like Adai's in her weakened state. Small, pale, fragile. Something dark crossed Chick's eyes. From that day he changed. He stopped coming home. He never held the child. He avoided Adai's with disgust. 2 years passed in painful silence. One drunken night, he returned home and slept beside her by accident. The next morning, he woke up in horror, as if he had touched a stranger. From that day he completely withdrew. Weeks later, Adai's realized she was pregnant again. When she told him, his reaction was filled with anger and cruelty. "I will not accept another child like that," he shouted. That night he stayed out drinking with a younger woman. Soon he stopped providing for the house. Rumors spread that Adiz was cursed. Still she stayed, hoping the man she loved would return. 7 months into her pregnancy, Chick arrived home with a young woman in the red dress. "She's here to give me what you couldn't," he said proudly. Then he ordered Adiz to leave. That evening, with nowhere to go, Adiz walked away from the house she once called home. She walked until night fell and collapsed in an abandoned hut on the village outskirts. There, alone, hungry and broken, she went into labor during a storm. With no help she gave birth. And this child was different. The baby was beautiful, strong, bright. He looked exactly like Chick. News spread quickly. Chick rushed to see the child, filled with pride, not love. When he begged Adiz to return home, she finally saw the truth. "No," she said calmly. "I choose peace." She walked away for good. And as she did, her beauty slowly returned. Not because of a man, but because she chose herself. Adiz rebuilt her life. Her children thrived. Her strength became legend. And Chick? He lived with regret until the end of his days. Because a mother's courage is stronger than any betrayal. Time has a quiet way of healing wounds the heart thinks will never close. Far away from the village that broke her, Adiz began again, not with hope but with survival. The abandoned hut became her shelter. The cold nights her companion. Hunger knocked often, but she refused to open the door to despair. Each morning she strapped her baby to her chest, held her daughter's hand and walked to the roadside. With borrowed bowls and trembling hands, she sold palm kernels, roasted groundnuts, and herbs gathered from the forest. Some days she earned little, some days nothing at all. But she never stopped. Women noticed her first. They saw the dignity in her silence, the strength in her eyes. They began to support her, not out of pity but respect. They bought from her. They spoke kindly to her. They defended her when whispers followed. Slowly her small trade grew. Her daughter, once afraid of loud voices, began to laugh again. She played freely, slept peacefully, and no longer flinched at shadows. The child was healing too. The baby boy grew quickly. Strong limbs, bright eyes, a presence that turned heads. People often paused when they saw him. "That child looks like a king," they whispered. Adiz heard them, but she stayed quiet. At night, under the stars, she held her children close and whispered promises she never broke. "You will never know the pain I knew," she told them. And she meant it. Back in the village she left behind, Chick's life was unraveling. The woman in the red dress didn't stay long. When money became scarce and admiration faded, she disappeared, taking her laughter, her perfume, and his pride with her. Chick returned home one evening to silence. No food on the fire. No child's laughter. No gentle voice waiting for him. Only regret. The villagers no longer greeted him with respect. Men avoided his gaze. Women shook their heads when he passed. "That's the man who chased away his wife," they whispered. "The woman who suffered and still survived." Nights became unbearable. Chick would sit alone, staring at the doorway, imagining Adiz walking back in. Her calm voice, her quiet strength, her steady love. But she never came. Years passed. Adiz's trade grew into a thriving business. She opened a small shop. Her hands that once trembled now counted money with confidence. Her back straightened. Her eyes regained their light. Her beauty returned. Not the fragile beauty of youth, but the powerful beauty of a woman who survived betrayal and chose herself. Her children flourished. Her daughter became bold, intelligent, and kind. Her son grew into a striking child whose presence demanded attention. Teachers praised him. Elders blessed him. Adiz was no longer known as the abandoned wife. She became known as the woman who rose. One market day, fate crossed paths again. Chick stood in the crowd, older now, thinner, eyes heavy with regret. He watched as people gathered around Adiz's shop, greeting her with smiles and respect. Then he saw the children. His heart stopped. The boy looked exactly like him. Pride mixed with shame burned in his chest. Slowly he stepped forward. "Adies," he whispered. He turned. Composed. Untouched by the past. "Yes?" she asked politely, like he was a stranger. Chick's voice broke. "I have nothing now," he said. "I was blind. I was cruel. I lost everything." She studied him quietly. "You didn't lose everything," she replied. "You threw it away." He dropped to his knees. "Forgive me," he begged. "Let me be part of their lives." Adies looked at her children, strong, happy, unbroken. Then she looked back at him. "Forgiveness is not access," she said gently. "And peace is something I earned without you." He turned away. And that was the last time Chick ever spoke to her. Adies lived a full life. Respected. Independent. Unbroken. And her story became a lesson whispered from mother to daughter. A woman's strength is revealed not when she is loved, but when she is abandoned and still chooses to rise.